Today, the fourth Sunday in Ordinary Time, February the 3rd, 2019. We reflect on the scriptures today, and there's so much to take in. But I'd like to draw our attention to the second reading today from St. Paul's letter to the Corinthians. It's a letter which Paul writes to the Corinthians, but especially in this passage, it's often quoted. And I want to speak a little bit about that. But before I do so, I want to share a brief story. As a parish priest, I've had numerous opportunities to celebrate weddings. It's a great festive occasion, to see everyone happy, to see family, friends, everybody coming together. And one of the things I've noticed is a lot of couples decide to choose this second reading from Paul's letter to the Corinthians as part of their wedding readings. And you can see why. St. Paul speaks of love, right? And I remember, after preparing a couple homilies on this particular readings, it dawned on me finally that when there's a couple who chooses this, I would, on the day of their wedding, of course, at the homily, I would ask them, in surprise, I would say, so before I begin my homily, I want to give our couple here, for example, John and Anne, for example, a pop quiz. And you can see their faces turn, they're worried, they're probably thinking in their mind, okay, well, is he going to embarrass me in front of all my guests? And a lot of things going in their mind. And I say, I only have one question for for the two of you. My one question is this: what is it that never fails? And you can see the couple's face, they turn, right? They're like, oh, that's easy. That's an easy answer, right? And St. Paul tells us very clearly, love never fails. Love never fails. It's a very, very important phrase. But yet, we think about it and we say, okay, well, love never fails. Well, that's, nice in words. But how about we put it into practice? How challenging can that be? And I would say it's probably very challenging. Let's go back to the couple example. Okay, so it's probably a form of love, a form of attraction that draws two young people together, right? A man and a woman. And you can imagine if their love is going to grow and develop and transform, it has to develop roots, right? It can't just be on a sensual level, in other words. And so their love has to go much deeper. Now, if we think about it, the initial attraction could be something sensual. But over the course of their dating, for example, it has to grow and mature. That's the only way for them to be able to make it to the altar on their wedding day and then to make it through life. And it's so easy to say, I love you, etc. But when the going gets tough, can we still do that? That's a challenge for all of us. Now, on a more practical level as well, if we think, well, love never fails, well, what about our family? What about our other relationships? Do we put love into practice? It's so easy to say, yes, I love you, when everything's going great. But what about when there are problems, trials, temptations, difficulties, etc.? We all face them in life. How do we deal with them? Do we bicker and argue and fight? Or do we try to turn to love, which can conquer all? St. Paul, he makes it very clear to all of us. He says, love never fails. And if we go further back a little bit, he gives us this hymn on love. It's so beautiful. And I invite all of you to please reflect on that. But there's also something else to consider here too. Paul says, if I can do all these great things in the world, do all sorts of greatness, but I don't have love, it means nothing. It means nothing, right? Now, how do we apply this to our lives? Well, there are plenty of examples. Take a look. When someone is in need, how do we show them our love? When someone is feeling depressed or sad or down, how do we show them our love? It's easy to criticize others. It's easy to point out the faults, the wrongs, etc. But how do we show them that we truly, genuinely love and care? That's what St. Paul's message to us, that's his message to us today. And if we carry this to the gospel reading, you see, Jesus has done all sorts of great miracles in Capernaum. And the people have heard about it, but now they want to see it for themselves. And as a result, when they see Jesus, who they are so familiar with, they figure, oh, we know who he is. Show all of us these great signs. But as you see, Jesus is not welcome even in his own hometown. The people forget to show their love, their honor, their respect, etc. So concretely today, how do you put this concept of love into practice? Remember, love never fails.